don't know what it is really about cemeteries that I enjoy so much. The quiet, the bugs, the architecture. But I don't know that I've been to a cemetery like this one before, where the old and the new, I guess for lack of a better term, is so mixed together. I mean, you have gravestones here that are brand spanking new, or at least within the last 10 or 20 years, that are side by side with the gravestones of a century ago. It's quite an amazing thing to see. You even have gravestones here like the Nesbitt gravestone, where it looks really good. It looks almost new. Elizabeth died in 1916, and it looks that good. And then you have some that look a lot older, like these behind me. Whole generations upon generations of families are buried next to each other. And this cemetery is a lot bigger than it looks. I had no idea. So welcome to Oakwood Cemetery in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. This is an amazing place. So this cemetery was founded back in the 1800s. And we'll get to it in a little bit, but this cemetery also has the oldest, should I say, the first Civil War monument in Summit County. It's not the biggest, but it was the first. And there's not really anybody famous, supposedly, buried here. But all of these people were famous to somebody. Whew, that was a hike. This is a cemetery that is truly built on the landscape that was already here. And it is full. I would hazard a guess that there is no land left to bury somebody on. Now you're not going to get a lot of mausoleums here. And the gravestones, even the ones that are sticking up out of the ground, the monuments, aren't necessarily the most ornate. But they are still impressive. Absolutely impressive. I'm standing next to a little obelisk here. I don't know if you can see it there. This one right here. This young one was buried in 1817. And although you can't see it right now, I'm standing now next to one from 1991. Cemeteries usually don't do that. Cemeteries fill up, and then when they are able to annex some new area, that's where the newly deceased people go. It's extraordinary. You just have to wonder how much a rock-solid obelisk like this huge monument, you have to wonder how much this would go for cost-wise nowadays. I mean, this thing is massive. It's extraordinary. I can't get over what I'm looking at here. What an amazing place. (1864). And literally right next to him, (1937). It's extraordinary. The hill that I'm on now is obviously the highest point in the cemetery. And it's just an extraordinary view from up here, as well as extraordinary monuments. So impressive. So impressive. But man, what a view. So really, at the end of the day, what's the point in coming out to a cemetery and filming some video? I think part of it for me is it's astonishing to me how much care is taken in a loved one's final resting place. And then just the sheer lack of visitors. It's somewhat extraordinary to me. I don't live near where my parents are buried. And maybe that's part of it. People move on. Literally, move on. But everybody comes the day of a funeral and you don't see a lot of return. So I guess the cemetery is a sad place. Obviously, you're burying a loved one. But I think for those of us who enjoy history, a cemetery can be a great place to come and see the past, to come at least memorialize the people who have gone before us. Kind of appreciate what their life might have been all about. Bugs. Like I said, there aren't a lot of mausoleums here. So when you find something like this, you tend to want to appreciate it a little bit. What a marvelous place. The thing that really stands out to me are how the plots are laid out. Oftentimes in old cemeteries, you see kind of a halfway put together game plan for rows of burials, especially in the old ones. People are buried willy-nilly. And that is absolutely not the case here. These plots of land are specifically lined, and they look amazing. I mean, they look amazing. It's unreal. Man, I'm telling you, this place is full. I'm going to tell you, I don't think there's another place to put anybody here. So Oakwood Cemetery has a modest area where those who have served in the military are laid to rest. And as with all things in this cemetery, it's kept fantastically. Since 1945, Oakwood has provided Cuyahoga Falls residents who served in the military free burial plots, which is totally awesome. And it came to the attention of City Hall that spouses were not permitted to be buried with their military partner per a city ordinance. So in 2015, Mayor Don Walters introduced legislation to ensure that loved ones can be laid to rest together. This policy is aligned with National Veterans Cemeteries ordinances. So it's awesome to see that it's happening here too. And you know what? It should be free. God bless them. So we talked about the Civil War monument as being the first monument to the Civil War in Summit County. After doing a little research, I found out something interesting about who dedicated this monument. The monument was dedicated by General Alvin C. Voris on October 26th, 1866. Now you'll remember Brevet Major General Voris from our previous video, and if you haven't seen that, I'll put a link to that in the description. He's buried in Akron, maybe 20 minutes away, at a beautiful cemetery called Glendale Cemetery. But he was here and dedicated this monument, the first Civil War monument in Summit County. So on this monument, I believe are the names of 26 men who gave their lives in the Civil War, Union troops. And there's some asterisks next to some of the men's names. Those asterisks are for the men who gave up their lives or lost their lives on the Mississippi steamer Sultana when it blew up at Memphis, Tennessee in April of 1865. The war had ended, and the North and the South were in the middle of a prisoner exchange. And the short story goes that Union soldiers were loaded over capacity onto a steamboat on the Mississippi River heading north. The steamboat had just had a boiler repair done hastily so that the steamboat captain could get a sizable sum of money for transporting these prisoners north. Made it as far upstream as Memphis, Tennessee, when all of the boilers failed and blew up. There were very few survivors. There's talk of boilers going straight through decks up in the air. These are the men who lost their lives and just got a taste of their freedom and were heading home. There are others listed on the monument who died during the war proper. And then there are those who are listed on this monument, Cuyahoga Falls residents, who died in Andersonville in Georgia. Andersonville was one of the largest, many established prison camps during the American Civil War. More than 45,000 Union soldiers were confined there. Of those 45,000 Union soldiers confined at Andersonville, almost 13,000 died from disease, poor sanitation, malnutrition, overcrowding, or exposure to the elements. It's amazing to think what these soldiers' final days were like. So I think that's gonna do it, bugs again, for us today at Oakwood Cemetery in Cuyahoga Falls. Please come out and visit. Even the website says, please enjoy a stroll through, enjoy nature, come and visit, see the memorials. You won't be disappointed. This is a absolutely stunning, stunning cemetery. Thanks for watching. See you when I see you.